Next item, citizen participation. Citizens wishing to address the board on agenda and non-agenda items for action who are signed in by 7:10 p.m. by submitting a blue card to the board secretary may speak at this time. The board may not be in a position to respond to non-agenda items, therefore speakers should not anticipate an immediate response to their comments or questions. For the benefit of all concerned, do not mention the names of students or school district employees. Please keep your comments as brief as possible. There's a 3-minute time limit on comments made to the board. Employee James McClellan from Warren would like to come to speak to the board about school music programs.
Good evening. Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Maleko. So when I wait for these board meetings to start, I like to pay attention to the videos that play on the TV. It's always really nice to see the different events that are taking place across the district. That we don't always get the chance to go see. Going to see our students and our teachers having successes. I see a lot of videos of our musical ensembles from the elementary and the secondary level in these videos. Many of my colleagues, even I saw myself up there a couple months ago. But what I'm worried about is that we are moving in the wrong direction with our musical ensembles at the secondary level. My colleagues are being informed their positions are being reduced, classes folded together, multiple grade levels, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade in one class, band and orchestra being combined into one class at the high schools. And this is not what we consider to be pedagogically appropriate for our students, and I'm concerned about going in that direction, and I hope we can get some clarity on the movement and the availability of moving in a different direction. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, employee Hannah Elliman from Ypsilanti would like to come to speak to the board about the music program support.
Good evening. James is a little bit taller than me. I'm one of the 5th grade instrumental teachers, and I actually spoke to you all last month. I'd like to start by thanking the board and our administration for their support and a step towards a resolution in our elementary scheduling. Although we've made some strides in the right direction, namely increasing the consistency of elementary music for our K-2 students, I cannot help but be concerned about the same secondary programs that you just heard about. Over the course of the last month, I watched my students perform, and as we gear up to watch their promotion ceremonies later this week, I feel fearful for their careers in music as programs reductions continue to loom. The future is really bright with over 500 instrumental students in our 5th grade programs. I ask you to please reconsider the reductions that are coming, as we just need more time to grow. Despite the scheduling solutions that have been provided to our elementary, our teachers are still awaiting building placements, confirmation of full-time status in their building, and assignments regarding the subject area. Of course, we know it's music, but we don't know band, orchestra, choir, general music, that they'll be teaching, in addition to the grade levels. It is vital that we continue to support our programs for our current students so that they can rise and exceed the standards set by our current ensembles. And it is imperative that our teachers have the information to adequately prepare to provide a students first, academically rigorous curriculum for the upcoming school year. Thank you again for your support, and I look forward to seeing it continued over the course of the next several years. Thank you.
Next, employee Nicole Hartrick from Detroit would like to come to speak to the board about the music department reductions.
Hello, everyone. Good evening, members of the school board and Dearborn community. My name is Nicole Hartrick. I teach band, orchestra, and elementary music at STEM, McCullough, William Ford, and Laurie. I'm here tonight to ask that the cuts currently planned for the 24-25 academic year for the vocal and instrumental programs at Dearborn High, Fordson, Stout, and Salina be reconsidered. As the schedules are still being worked out for most schools in the district, I'm also asking that further cuts are not made to existing programs. These cuts and reductions are not in the best interest of Dearborn students. After 2 years of support from the board and upper administration, instrumental and vocal music is starting to see a sign of life. To the board and Dr. Maleko, thank you for supporting this vision of equity and growth in our department. I am asking that you not forget about this commitment and allow us time to grow these ensembles, which were previously decimated due to budget cuts. As numbers come in for elective choices for next year, we have seen that some schools have more participants than others. This may be due to a variety of reasons, including required electives that limit the options students get to choose from, competition from pull-out programs for advanced students in technical classes that do not allow music classes to be taken, and remedial classes trumping student choice. We are also recovering from the COVID bubble in which student interest in band and orchestra seem to be down in many districts. We are working together during our PLC time and in our professional development sessions to assess what is working and what needs to be improved. I am also aware that our department head, Mr. Taylor, has been in conversations with the executive cabinet and Dr. Maleko. These steps toward a solution and open dialogue are welcomed. Thank you. What else can be done to prevent the cuts currently planned? We've been told that no music teachers will be losing their jobs, which is a huge relief. However, if our programs are being cut, what will we be doing? Why not keep the teachers who teach music in their field of expertise and continue to give us time to build our programs? Music education and the arts education overall is extremely valuable for Dearborn students. A study from 2002 found that learning in the arts may be uniquely able to boost learning and achievement for young children, students from economically disadvantaged circumstances, and students needing remedial instruction. A compilation of studies from 1999 found that students who participate in the arts outperform their peers on virtually every measure. Researchers found that sustained learning in music and theater correlates to greater success in math and reading, and students from lower socioeconomic backgrounds see the greatest benefits. In fact, learning in and through the arts can help level the playing field for youngsters in disadvantaged circumstances. Cognitive neuroscience scientists at 7 universities have found strong links between arts education and cognitive development, including thinking, problem solving, concept understanding, information processing, and overall intelligence. At the last meeting, I heard a presentation on ways to increase literacy and numeracy skills. Key issues the district is focusing on for the next school year. The arts have been a proven method for increasing these skills and should be elevated in our course offerings instead of being cut. Please value music. Please support music educators. Please support music programs. I'm available to discuss the matter further or share any research if it's helpful. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Next, parent Jennifer Hansen from Dearborn would like to speak to the board about funding for the arts and boundary line exemptions.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Hansen, and I have a son that is a junior at Fortson High School. I'm here to address my concerns for both the arts programs, specifically music, as well as boundary line exemptions. I hate public speaking, so you know I'm here. I'm serious. From the experience as both a product, my experience as a product of Dearborn Public Schools, as well as watching my son attend since kindergarten, it's that the arts often take a backseat to most everything else. After last month's meeting, learning that we may be losing funding for music since we are losing students, well, imagine my concern. My son's passion in life is music and theater. I know he's not the only one. Without getting into too much detail, my son is already struggling at Fortson and has a 504 plan. His needs are not being met. His choir teacher is leaving, and I'm not sure what the future holds for music at Fortson. The choir teacher and orchestra director worked so hard to bolster the attendance in Fortson's music programs, and now we may lose funding. I ask if there's anything you can do to keep the arts alive at DPS, please do. Not every child is going to be a doctor or dreams of playing for the NFL one day. Not only are some of those classes safe spaces for our children, these are subjects our students may be studying after they graduate high school and move on to college and eventually their careers. If we're not going to fund the arts equally across all schools or offer the same types of classes at each school, regardless of what they are, please allow for boundary line exemptions. Students whose needs are not being met at their home schools should be able to attend another school in the district. I'm not asking for wide open boundary line exemptions. I'm asking for exceptions in this case of students who are struggling at one school but would possibly do well at another. I hate to see my child or any child slip through the cracks when I feel like something can be done to meet their needs. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Next, community member Andrew Pass from West Bloomfield would like to come to speak to the board about curriculum.
Thank you very much. I started an educational content development company in 2009. At the time, I was borrowing money from my parents and substitute teaching. And today we have 2,400 associates who develop courses, lesson plans, assessment items, learning objects, textbooks, instructor guides, etc., etc. Now, I ask you to stop for a moment. Think about the most powerful learning activity that you've ever engaged in. Where were you? What were you doing? I suspect you felt like you were the center. An incredibly powerful feeling. Too often, publishers and providers develop national content. And what happens is the local gets lost. My company is now looking at what's local and helping school districts build content that is centered on them or encourages them personally to engage and interact with the content from their viewpoint on the world. Of course, challenging their viewpoints at times, helping them think more disparately. But national companies don't do that. And because of the technologies that are affordable today, we're able to do that more and more. So I challenge you to think about what the role of the teacher is. Engaging with students one-on-one. And I gotta tell you tonight, seeing the students who have been up here, I go from district to district. You guys should be impressed. You guys should be proud. Your students are amazing. And the content has a role too. So I ask you to think about that as well. And thank you for having me.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Action items. Are there any agenda items on this agenda which board members or the superintendent wish to discuss and vote on separately? If there are, we will exclude these from the motion below.
Trustee Moser,
I have questions on number 7.
number 7.
It doesn't need to be pulled.
Okay. You can go ahead and read the.
Recommended action, move that action items numbered 1 to 23 be approved as recommended in this agenda.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion moved by trustee Thorpe, supported by trustee Petchikoff. We'll go to trustee Moser. Question regarding number 7.
Yes, so this is, I believe, the Graduation Alliance contract. And this, for the upcoming year, the price tag for this has increased to $820,000. I believe in March, I did ask for how many students were enrolled, and thank you, Mr. Martin, for the great report that you presented of how many students graduated from that program, and there was a distinction between graduating for success reasons and or did not graduate. So I'm just asking why the amount has increased. If your projection is, are we saying that we have more students are enrolling in the program?
So no, that wasn't the case. The case was to put in a purchase order to cover what the total cost could possibly be. That was worst case scenario for the next school year. Right now we have 92 students in there. We don't plan on spending more than we did last year. In fact, we're gonna come under this year, but wanted to have a starting point. I haven't heard from Graduation Alliance yet. Last year they did raise their prices to a degree, so I was uncertain if they were or weren't. So that's why the number is what it is. But remember, that number is offset with the FTE that we're able to collect for students. So even though we are spending, let's say, that amount of money, we still are receiving the full FTEs for the students and are actually still in the positive overall for those students. Yep.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Yep. And I'll say right now, the majority of the students that are being referred to Graduation Alliance, we've evolved over the 3 years that we've gotten there. It's not the perfect fit for every student. What we've identified is really students in their end of third, beginning of fourth year, who have shown some propensity to be successful in our traditional schools are the ones that are most successful. So we're utilizing it that way. As the virtual K-12 has changed a little bit, I know you guys have heard a little bit about that. We have had some behind the scenes conversations about implications for Graduation Alliance. So my hope is that we're able to explore it over the course of the year and then maybe come with a recommendation for how Graduation Alliance might be able to use Edgenuity in a way that our virtual students are as a sidestep to Graduation Alliance. Yep.
Trustee Petrikov?
And so that you can clarify, so that everybody can understand, what this contract says is in the amount not to exceed $820,000 for
Correct.
that school year.
Correct.
When we give a contract with that not to exceed caveat, is it an open-ended amount then? Because we're anticipating that we're going to fill in the dollar amount at the end of the school year with the actual figure for the students who took advantage of it? How do you explain the not to exceed so that people can understand?
I'll ask the professional.
He's professional too. Well, we usually say not to exceed because we don't know how many students are going to be involved.
Right.
So it's based on a student count and the number of classes they take each time, right? And so that could go up or go down, depending on how aggressive the student wants to do to complete theirs, or have the time for people to be able to add it and come up from the program.
So what does the contract look like?
So the not to exceed, when we have that, we only pay for what actually was used.
Right.
We never pay in advance or anything, only what we actually use. So if we had, just 20 students, we'd only pay the 20, maybe 20,000 per student. So we don't give them the full amount in advance or anything, only pay as we go.
So it's a pay-as-you-go, basically.
Right, and we're estimating about $10,122 per student. And I think the cost is $820,000 for 90 students. So you can see where we're actually bringing more money for other offset costs than just the actual students for that tuition piece.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
I would say we had 24 graduates through Grad Alliance last month, which was really good. We've got 92 students currently in the program. I just peeked at today. So, thank you.
Thank you. Is there an objection to the motion? Hearing none, please attach a unanimous roll call vote in affirmative. Madam Secretary, next item.
Summary of agenda action items. Number 1, approval of warrants. Number 2, approval of an award to Cognia. Number 3, approval of awards to Hype Athletics, Nutty Scientists, and iCoding. Number 4, approval of an award to Rubicon West LLC per Board Report 23-136. Number 5, approval of an award to University of Florida Literacy Institute per Board Report 23-137. Number 6, approval of an award to Great Minds per Board Report 23-138. Number 7, approval of an award to Graduation Alliance. Number 8, approval of an award to Youth in Mind. Number 9, approval of an award to Hype. Number 10, approval of an award to Common Sales and Service per Board Report 23-139. Number 11, approval of an award to Imperial Dade per Board Report 23-140. Number 12, approval of an award to KSS Enterprises per Board Report 23-141. Number 13, approval of an award to Highland Electric Fleets, Inc., number 14 through 16. Approval of non-instructional and instructional personnel items for P-12. Number 17, approval of financial statements per Board Report 23-145. Number 18, approval of 2024-2025 Schedule of Board of Education meetings per Board Report 23-146. Number 19, approval of 2024-2025 district membership in MHSAA per Board Report 23-147. Number 20, approval of resolution of school of choice. Number 21, approval of the 2023-2024 second budget revision per Board Report 23-148. Number 22, approval of the 2024-2025 budget per Board Reports 23-149. And number 23, appointment of Director of Food Services.
Okay, great, thank you. Next item, please.
Discussion items? There are none.
Next item, please.
Board of Education Business, acknowledgment of correspondence.
I've been receiving emails. I forwarded one today. Thank you, Dr. Maleko, for jumping on that one, taking care of it. I did receive a couple other emails regarding the elimination of the BLE policy. I've been directing those back to Student Services and the DFT President. Next item, please.
Board Member Committee and Organization Reports.
Trustee Moses?
The Policy Committee met earlier today. We did review clarifications on the grandfathering of the boundary line exemptions, and we also looked at the board members viewing personnel files, if that can be turned into a standing policy that's further to be reviewed. And we discussed also the bullying policy that will be reviewed as well after we get some feedback from Ms. Farage and high school and middle school principals.
You also met on May 20th, and I want to thank you and our colleagues, Trustee Watts and Trustee McDonald, for all the time you've spent dealing with the issues that have come up. Anytime you change a policy or you eliminate a policy, there's always unintended consequences, and I'm very happy with the administration and the DFT leadership with all the great communication that we were able to get very, very close on what we want and what everybody wanted. So thank you for all your time. Next item, please.
Board Member and Superintendent commentary.
Trustee Thorpe.
A couple weeks ago, we had Memorial Day. A few of us got a chance to participate in the parade, and I wanted to let all the students and staff that were involved with marching that they did a great job. They represented our district wonderfully.
And we all enjoyed our bucket hats.
Anybody else? Next item, please.
Request for information.
Hold on.
Just,
Dr.
I just
Maleko?
wanted to clarify one thing on our staffing, because I know it came up. So myself being superintendent in HR, we're still going through the staffing process, so things won't be finalized. I mean, we try to get things done by the end of June if possible, but this is not out of the normal process for knowing specific buildings. The other thing I just wanted to mention, because I didn't know what the music is, that I've given the directive, there's been no central office directive to cut music whatsoever, so I just need to clarify that. In fact, the opposite, we're looking at middle school and high school for no cuts. In fact, that was my direction. However, we have enrollment that we have to match. So we're doing that across the board with all programs, not just music. This is based on the student enrollment. As we know, last year it went down by 400. So what we're doing right now, as we're looking at our staffing, music falls into the same as every other subject. Having said that, I've had very good meetings with Mr. Taylor, and a couple of years ago we added to the middle school. We haven't taken that away, but we are looking at our student enrollment, not just because of course selection, but also enrollment in general. So that's where that's coming. Ms. Farage and I had a very good meeting with the middle school principals that we made it very clear on some of those things. The other thing we are looking to do for the middle school course selection sheets is we're going to have a very unified for next year. My expectation is that we will have one for all schools across the district. It's something we talked to the middle school principals. And it's not just in the music, but it's also going to go with Ms. Farage with the task force that she's working on. We're trying to consolidate things across the district as best we can. So really, it's a positive. But I would just tell the staff, you got to be patient because we're right in the normal staffing process that we would be in every year. So,
Thank you. Trustee Petrikov.
And I was thinking the same thing about the patience portion. We understand we need to be patient to grow programs that maybe have fallen behind. We ask the same from you, to be patient with us and with administration in trying to work out, because we have so many competing challenges, state, federal, local requirements that we're trying to meet, that sometimes things are going to be a little messy while we work through this process. So while we want to encourage and be patient for your programs to grow, we would like you to be patient with us as well as we try to work our way through all of these issues that confront us, but nobody is trying to abandon anything. We want a well-rounded student walking away with a diploma that means something to everyone. And that's what we're trying to do. So we hope that we can all have some grace with each other.
Thank you, Trustee Petrikov. Those comments could have been said by anybody on this table, so we support music, we support the arts. We're not getting away from that. But there are also some challenges that we have to get through, like Dr. Maleko and Trustee Petrikov has said. Thank you. Next item, please.
Next item, future meeting dates. There are a few on,
Requests for information, please.
oh, I'm sorry. Requests for information and or future agenda items.
Trustee Thorpe.
This goes right along with what was just mentioned. Dr. Maleko, if we could see what the electives are for middle school, because I know that's the first time students really have a chance to get some choice in there. There's only so many slots for the things they might be interested in. And it would probably go along the same line and along with the blue cards. In high school, there's certain core subjects, well, they're all the way through. English is one of them. Do classes like drama, speech, things like that that are English related, but they also fall in then to like the theater department. Are they considered English classes? And if not, can we do things? Because we heard earlier today in commendations about bringing geometry into the wood shop, which has always been there, but we just never really thought of it. So just how can we bring some of these other topics back in to support them? Thanks.
Anybody else? No, next item.
Next item, future meeting dates. Bear with me, there are a few that are not on here. Monday, June 10th, HFC Board of Trustees meeting, 7 p.m. at the Administrative Services and Conference Center in the Rosenau Boardroom. Monday, June 17th, 2024, HFC closed session, 6 p.m. at the Administrative Services and Conference Center in the Cabinet Conference Boardroom. Monday, July 29th, 2024, P-12 Board meeting, 7 p.m. at the Administrative Service Center in the Frank Franchi Boardroom. Monday, August 19th, 2024, P-12 Board meeting, 7 p.m. at the Administrative Service Center in the Frank Franchi Boardroom. Wednesday, August 21st, 2024, P-12 Board training, 6 p.m. at the Administrative Service Center in Room 12. And Monday, August 26th, 2024, HFC Board of Trustees meeting, 7 p.m. at the Administrative Services and Conference Center in the Rosenau Boardroom.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening, everybody. We are adjourned.